All right, so we covered the reason to do this, the objections. So everybody should be reblogging, and now I want to ask you a question about interactions. And this kind of
Hmm.
this is not necessarily congruent with what we were talking about. Sort of is, but it's one of those things. I'm doing something today, so I figured the question came to my mind, so I'll ask you. So I got a
That's one of my favorite words, by the way. Congruent.
congruent. You like that word?
Yeah, yeah. That's one of my favorite words. Or incongruent.
Right.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite words. Please go on.
Excellent. So I put out a post today on my blog, and it was one of those that I thought was there's a little bit, there's always, it was a great controversial angle. Like I was able to put a little bit of controversy into this post. There's a kind of glitch I saw on Facebook as Facebook's making changes. So there's a little marketing opportunity for smart marketers. So I was teaching that opportunity, but also addressing the fact that there's a lot of haters out there on Facebook who do not like when you, as a person, enter into their newsfeed without their permission. But as marketers, if you're my target market, I want to show up on your newsfeed, even if
Right.
you're not, to get you to like me. So little trick, right? But there's that group of haters. So what I'm doing is going on the hater lists and trying to, say, hey, I disagree with you, and get some, really just trying to drum up some conversation and some arguments. So I want to talk to you because
Yeah.
I think you're great at this stuff, and talk to you about your take on, and what you suggest on creating controversy and getting people to make some, come back to your blog, come back to your social media, and post some comments,
Yeah.
on raw emotion.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, why do we care about engagement in comments? We care about it because when a potential client comes to your blog, Mike, right? Let's say they don't know you from a hole in the wall,
Right.
right? And they're not savvy enough to get some sense of what your traffic is like, because that would give them some sense of your skill set and authority, right? The only thing that's visible to them is essentially number of comments and number of shares.
Right.
So if they see those two, then when people visit your blog, they think, oh, wow, this is a popular blog. Mike is a popular guy. I should hire him, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So people have no idea what your traffic is, right? But they can see what your activity is in comments and shares, right? So that's why we care about comments.
Right.
So, and then the question is, how do we get comments?
Well, the other end of that is, I
Yeah.
don't mean to sidetrack you, but the more of a firestorm you can create,
Mhm.
so the more comments, the more people you can get visiting to make a comment, that's traffic, right? So that ups
Well,
your
yeah,
traffic,
absolutely.
which is for SEO. If Google sees that tons of people are coming, and they're coming because it's good quality and they're participating, that's really good for you.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So how do you get people to engage with your content, right? And getting people to engage with your content is a function of two things. One, it's a function of emotion,
Right.
right? Um, Emotion, the word emotion, I hate to get all, what is it, etymology? Yeah. I hate to get all, linguistic on you, but emotion comes from the Latin root of movare, I think, movare, which means motion, right? To move.
Right.
Movare, to move, right? So if you want people to do something on your blog, you have to move them. You have to compel them to move, right? And the question then becomes, how do you do that, right? And you do that by being controversial, for example. You do that by pissing them off, right?
Yeah.
If I publish a blog post tomorrow that says, all Republicans are douchebags, right? That's going to piss off Republicans.
Yep.
They're going to come to my blog and they're going to bitch about me saying what I said. And that's going to make Democrats really happy, and they're going to pile on and agree with me, right? So one easy way to move people to comment is to polarize, right? To have the two sides and to sort of pit them together. David and Goliath, right? That's a common archetype for a story as well, right? Big, I mean, what is that? Brockovich, Aaron Brockovich.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
David and Goliath story,
Sure.
right? And that moves us, right? And there's like a bazillion movies that were made in the 80s and 90s. They're essentially in that same
Right.
vein, right?
Can you do that too much? Can that be a negative?
I don't think so. I don't think so. A good example, last year, this girl published a blog post that said something to the effect that community managers can't be over 25. Brilliant blog post. I mean, utter nonsense.
Right.
Right? But brilliant, because she pissed off all these community managers who were over 25, right? And by the way, she made some solid points as well, right? People who are older, they're not digital natives, they don't understand digital natives, and a lot of community managers who kind of responded all pissed off proved her point. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then, of course, people who were under 25 were like, yay!
Yeah, so you kind of go over, you play the both sides, right? You go over here and you say, hey, I just called you out, man. You suck. And then you go over here and say, hey, these guys disagree with me. They go over and defend me.
Right. I don't know what else came of it, but I know that she got an invite, all expense paid invite, to Blog World in Vegas.
No kidding.
Right? In January. I don't know if she accepted. I know they made her an offer to come, all expense paid, and all that stuff. So I don't think it can be bad, man. I mean, you just have to be like the duck, right? You have to let the water slide off you.
Yeah.
It's just words at the end of the day, right? So can it be bad? I don't think so. I'm having a hard time thinking of an example where it turned out to be bad.
Yeah,
right?
I wonder if somebody just takes it too far, or polarizes the crowd that they're trying not to, that they're trying to attack. So if you polarize your own tribe, you're in trouble. But
right,
so it's I guess it needs to be handled strategically. You want to make sure, because we're as a business owner, I know not everybody's going to want to do business with me, no matter what I do. And I don't care who you are on this planet. There's somebody who doesn't like everybody. There's you're going to find a hater in every group. So may as well piss off that group that hates you already.
Yep.
Use them to up your traffic and comments.
Absolutely. So, but polarization is one strategy. Really, the point is, if you want people to leave a comment, you have to move them. You have to compel them to leave that comment. And one of the common mistakes that bloggers do is they try to be, what would be the best way to, they try to cover all sides. Right. They try to be fair, and
they're standing in the middle of the road.
They're standing. Yeah, you get hit. Yeah, exactly. Right. They try to point out all the different angles and sides, and they try to be fair and stuff like that. And a friend of mine, I remember it so vividly. This was a few years ago. She was like, she writes for a fashion blog. And she's like, I try to do all that. I try to cover all the sides. And then I go back and read my content, and I can't get through it. It's too boring.
Interesting.
Right?
That's very interesting.
Yeah. So I mean, how would you expect somebody else to, get through it? And then
you're saying that, I'm going through some of my own content in the back of my head, wondering, I've done that. I do that. I still do. I wonder if the blog post I just read did that.
Subtlety, man. It's like, you want to cover all the angles, but there's no room for that, right? We're so fast paced and we're so distracted. There's enough time to essentially lay out black and white.
Right.
And any other shade of gray is just going to muddle the issue.
You're right. You're
I mean,
absolutely right.
look at the TV, right? They don't give you a comprehensive coverage of the issue. They find the black and white.
Right.
They find the Republican that's willing to yell and a Democrat that's willing to yell, right?
Yeah.
And they put them on, right? Right? There's no, they don't have, there's no subtlety, right? There's no room for subtlety.
Absolutely.
So, emotion. You want people to leave a comment, you have to make them want to leave a comment, right? And emotion is the part of the brain that moves us, compels us to leave a comment. A rational brain doesn't.
Right.
Rational brain is just useless. So there's a statement that's going to piss off neuroscientists. Anyways, rational brain is useless. Remove it.
It's a great blog post.
Yeah. So you need to heighten the emotion.
Right.
And you need to eliminate friction as much as possible. That's the second piece, right? Eliminate friction as much as possible. And friction comes in the form of, Jesus Christ, I have to authenticate. Oh, I have to enter CAPTCHA.
Right.
Oh, I have to click on this thing. It's like, right?
Right. All these barriers to entry.
All these barriers. And then when you finally leave a comment, it says awaiting moderation. And you're like,
yeah.
Right? It's like when you're a baby and there's a bottle on the table and you go like this,
right,
and the bottle falls and the baby cracks up. Why? Because the baby was able to immediately act on its environment and see the immediate results of its actions, right? And we're no different, right? When you do something, you expect to see immediate return. As adults, we learn to cope with that. But ideally, we want to see immediate reaction to our action.
Right.
Right?
Makes perfect sense.
Right? And when I see awaiting moderation, I'm like, okay, mental note, never come back to this blog again.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's, you want comments, that's what you have to do. Emotion, friction.
Right. Right. And asking people to do it. You know, I try and end all my blog posts with, hey, you know, what do you think of this? Or something specific. You know, if you're, if you like, I think I ended mine today, you know, haters, go ahead and put your blog, put your hate below. Something.
Right. Yeah.
Egging them on a little bit, but you
sure.
know, get them to take action because people don't, won't do it unless you ask them to. But